much in favor of supporting President Obama's signature accomplishment with the Affordable Care Act, because I know how hard it was to get that passed, even with a Democratic Congress. So rather than letting the Republicans repeal it, or rather starting all over again, trying to throw the country into another really contentious debate, let's make the Affordable Care Act work for everybody. Let's get to 100% coverage. Let's get the cost down, and let's guarantee health care.
Secretary, let's talk about Social Security, another critically important issue. Senator Sanders has challenged you to give a clear answer when it comes to extending the life of Social Security and expanding benefits. Are you prepared to lift the cap on taxable income, which currently stands at $118,500? Yes or no, would you lift the cap?
I have said repeatedly, Wolf, I am going to make the wealthy pay into Social Security to extend the Social Security Trust Fund. That is one way. If that is the way that we pursue, I will follow that. But there are other ways. We should be looking at taxing passive income by wealthy people. We should be looking at taxing all of their investments. But here's the real issue, because I've heard this, I've seen the reports of it. I have said from the very beginning, we are going to protect Social Security. I was one of the leaders in the fight against Bush when he was trying to privatize Social Security. But we also, in addition to extending the trust fund, which I am absolutely determined to do, we've got to help people who are not being taken care of now. And because Social Security started in the 1930s, a lot of women have been left out and left behind. And it's time that we provide more benefits for widows, divorcees, for caregivers, for women who deserve more from the Social Security system, and that will be my highest priority.
Go ahead, Senator.
Interesting comment, but you didn't answer the question.
I did. If that's the way you're... Yes, I did.
Can I answer?
I did answer the...
Please?
Well, don't put words into my mouth and say something that's not...
Go ahead, Senator.
All right. Essentially, what you described is my legislation, which includes passive income. Now, we've got... Here is the issue. Your answer has been the same year after year. In fact, the idea that I'm bringing forth, I have to admit it, it wasn't my idea. It was Barack Obama's idea in 2008. Exact same idea. He called for lifting the cap, which is now higher. It's at 118, and starting at 250 and going on up. If you do that, you're going to extend the life of Social Security for 58 years. You will significantly expand benefits by $1,300 a year for seniors and disabled vets under $16,000 a year. What's wrong with that? Are you prepared to support it?
I have supported it. We are in vigorous agreement here, Senator. I think it's important to point out that, we're having a discussion about the best way to raise money from wealthy people to extend the Social Security Trust Fund. Think about what the other side wants to do. They're calling Social Security a Ponzi scheme. They still want to privatize it. In fact, their whole idea is to turn over the Social Security Trust Fund to Wall Street, something you and I would never let happen. So, yes, we both want to make sure Social Security is vibrant and well-funded and helps the people at the bottom.
Senator, go ahead.
Campaign of challenging, if I hear you correctly, Madam Secretary, you are now coming out finally in favor of lifting the cap on taxable income and extending and expanding Social Security. If that is the case, welcome on board. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Errol Lewis, go ahead.
We are going.
Secretary.
As he said, I've said the same thing for years. I didn't say anything different tonight. We are going to extend the Social Security Trust Fund. There is still something called Congress. Now, I happen to support Democrats, and I want to get Democrats to take back the majority in the United States Senate. So a lot of what they're talking about can actually be implemented when I am president.
Hold on.
I got to admit,
go ahead, Senator.
Maybe I'm a little bit confused. Are you or are you not supporting legislation to lift the cap on taxable income and extend Social Security for 58 years and increased benefits? Yes or no?
I have said yes, we are going to pick the best way or combination. Or a combination of ways. You know, it's always a little bit challenging because, you know, if Senator Sanders doesn't agree with how you are approaching something, then you are a member of the establishment. Well, let me say this. We are going to extend the Social Security Trust Fund. We've got some good ideas to do it. Let's get a Congress elected that will actually agree with us.
Thank you, Errol. Go ahead.
Okay, Secretary Clinton, I've got a question for you from a reader of the New York Daily News.
Yes, Secretary.
Senator,
This is a reader of the Daily News who sent us a question for you. Just a second, Senator. Hannah Green wants to know your position, Secretary Clinton, regarding President Obama's nomination of Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court. President Obama said earlier this week that he would not withdraw the nomination even after the presidential election. If elected, would you ask the president to withdraw the nomination?
I am not going to contradict the president's strategy on this, and I'm not going to engage in hypotheticals. I fully support the president, and I believe that the president is on the right side of both the Constitution and history, and the Senate needs to immediately begin to respond. So I'm going to support the president. When I am president, I will take stock of where we are and move from there.
Senator Sanders.
Well, there's no question. I mean, it really is an outrage. And it just continues the 7.5 years of unbelievable obstructionism we have seen from these right-wing Republicans. I mean, a third grader in America understands the President of the United States has the right to nominate individuals to the U.S. Supreme Court. Apparently everybody understands that except the Republicans.
So, Senator Sanders, would you ask him to withdraw the nomination?
Yeah, but here's the point. And obviously I will strongly support that nomination as a member of the Senate. But if elected president, I would ask the president to withdraw that nomination because I think that we need a Supreme Court justice who will make it crystal clear, and this nominee has not yet done that, crystal clear that he or she will vote to overturn Citizens United and make sure that American democracy is not undermined.
You know, there is no doubt that the only people that I would ever appoint to the Supreme Court are people who believe that Roe v. Wade is settled law and Citizens United needs to be overturned. And I want to say something about this since we're talking about the Supreme Court and what's at stake. We've had 8 debates before. This is our 9th. We've not had one question about a woman's right to make her own decisions about reproductive health care. Not one question. And in the meantime, we have states, governors, doing everything they can to restrict women's rights. We have a presidential candidate by the name of Donald Trump saying that women should be punished, and we are never asked about this. And to be complete in my concern, Senator Sanders said, with respect to Trump, it was a distraction. I don't think it's a distraction. It goes to the heart of who we are as women, our rights, our autonomy, our ability to make our own decisions. And we need to be talking about that and defending Planned Parenthood from these outrageous attacks. Your response.
You're looking at a senator and former congressman who proudly has a 100% pro-choice voting record, who will take on those Republican governors who are trying to restrict a woman's right to choose, who will take on those governors right now who are discriminating outrageously against the LGBT community, who comes from a state which led the effort for gay marriage in this country, proudly so.
Thank you, Senator.
Who not only thinks we are not going to not defund Planned Parenthood,
your time is
we're
up.
going to expand funding for Planned Parenthood.
Senator Sanders, you've spoken a lot tonight about your votes in Congress. You have been in Congress for over a quarter of the century, and there as an independent, not a Democrat. Now you're seeking the Democratic nomination, but Secretary Clinton has suggested that she's not even sure you are a Democrat. Are you?
Well, why would I be running for the Democratic nomination to be President of the United States? But here is a good point. You know, in virtually all of the general election matchup polls between Trump and Secretary Clinton and Trump and Bernie Sanders, in almost all of those polls, I do better than Secretary Clinton. Both in the CNN poll, I was 20 points ahead of Trump. I think Secretary Clinton was 12 points. And you know why? Because, in fact, a whole lot of people, this may be a shock to the Secretary, but there are a whole lot of independents in this country.
Senator Sanders.
And we are not going to win the White House based on just long-term Democratic votes. We have got to reach out to independents, and I think I am well qualified to do that.
Senator
I am
Sanders.
in this race. As a Democrat, I have raised millions of dollars for my colleagues in the United States Senate to help them get elected. I will do everything that I can to open the Democratic Party to the young people who are flocking into our campaigns.
Senator Sanders, on that very subject, Secretary Clinton mentioned electing a Democratic Congress several times. She says that she raised $15 million for the Democratic Party in the first 3 months of this year. You don't appear to have raised any money for the party. So yesterday you did announce that you would help 3 members of Congress who have endorsed you. But why aren't you doing more now to help the party you say you want to lead?
The truth is, and you can speak to my colleagues, we have raised millions of dollars for the DSCC. I have written letters that have raised just if I may use the word, huge amount of money. So that's just not accurate. But I will also say, and this is important, and maybe the Secretary disagrees with me, but I am proud that millions of young people who previously were not involved in the political process are now coming into it. And I do believe that we have got to open the door of the Democratic Party to those people. And I think the future of the Democratic Party is not simply by raising money from wealthy campaign contributors. I think that the way we are doing it in this campaign, $27 a contribution, not being dependent on Wall Street or big money. That is the future of the Democratic Party that I want to see.
Talk about where we are in this race. I have gotten more votes than anybody running, 9.6 million at the last count. That is 2.3 million more than Senator Sanders. And it is 1.4 million more than Donald Trump. And I think you have to look at the facts. And the facts are that I'm putting together a very broad-based, inclusive coalition from the south to the north, from the east to the west, with African Americans, Latinos, women, union households, working people, and I am very proud of the campaign we are running. It is a campaign that will not only capture the Democratic nomination, but a campaign that will defeat whoever the Republicans end up nominating. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Senator Sanders. Now I want to say, Senator Sanders, I also want to say that I do think it is absolutely critical and incredible that we have so many young people involved in the political process. I applaud all of those who are applauding you, Senator Sanders. We're happy that they are supporting you, that they are passionately committed